All right, everyone, good morning and welcome to NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Playoffs Media Day. We're first joined here by Chandler Smith. A reminder, if you have a question for Chandler or any of our drivers today, please just raise your hand within the Zoom platform or send me a chat if you have a question and you can't seem to turn on your microphone, and we're going to try to get to as many questions as we can in the time that we have with each driver. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. We'll start with Deb Williams. Go ahead with your question, Deb.
Thank you. Good morning, Chandler. Thank you for your time today. Going into the playoffs, what do you view as your strength and what do you view as your biggest challenge?
I feel like our biggest strength is our team. We've shown consistency throughout the season. We've kind of went through a slump here in the past, honestly, 2, 3 months, and just not been able to show up to the racetrack, hitting the balance like it should be, not having great speed. But I'm confident in my team, my number 38 team, to kind of turn that around going into the playoffs and hopefully pick up the pace and pick up the momentum. And with how this playoff format is, all we got to do is make it to Phoenix. So I'm confident with all the things that we got, all the resources that Ford provides us with, that we have everything right here at our disposal to at least make it to Phoenix.
So then what do you view as your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge is probably just execution on the racetrack, between myself, between um, pit crew, between pit calls, just making sure that we all execute and we're all, rowing the boat in the same direction.
Thank you. Good luck with the playoffs.
Thank you.
Additional questions for Chandler? All right, we'll go to Chris Knight. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey Chandler, thanks for your time this morning. I was just curious, where do you feel like you're going to execute best in the playoffs, and how do you approach the first round?
I feel like the first round's our strong suit between, especially, going back to Bristol, we won there earlier this year. New Hampshire is one of my favorite racetracks. It's got a lot of similarities. I consider it a short track. So, given my background and stuff, I feel like this first round kind of fits into our narrative. Darlington, I'm not sure what to expect. It's been forever since I've been there in a truck. Uh, the past few times I've been there in Xfinity has just been kind of just ran top 10. Nothing really great or phenomenal about it. So Darlington looking to just, maximize the day with whatever we got. And then Bristol and New Hampshire is going and trying to get, checkered flags and make sure that we advance our advance ourselves to the next round of playoffs. And then round two, it's kind of the haymaker round. You got, what is it? I think it's Charlotte Roval, Talladega, then Martinsville, and I may have said that backwards or whatever, but a lot can happen between Charlotte Roval and Talladega, then even Martinsville, right? So yeah, hopefully we can just make it to that round and we can execute there and try to make it to the Final Four.
Thanks. Do you also know if you guys are planning to build any new trucks for these upcoming races?
So Richmond was a brand new truck for us. I think I may have one more brand new truck coming out, and it's scheduled to hit the track at Phoenix, I believe. So
All right, thank you. Appreciate your time.
yeah, of course.
All right, we'll go next to Cameron Richardson.
Hey Chandler, how do you think the additions of New Hampshire and Roll will kind of throw a wrench in the plans for the playoffs, given that it is like pretty much the first time for this whole crop of truck series drivers competing at those tracks?
Yeah, I think it's big considering, especially for our specific team. Like, we don't have any notes from trucks ever being at New Hampshire. Teams that should have notes is your ThorSports, your Spire, because they inherited the KBM notes. Um, and maybe McAnally, maybe. Now, granted, it's got a lot of similar characteristics to like Phoenix and a little bit to Richmond and some other places that you could kind of, build a baseline around. So, I'm personally all for it. I've been in New Hampshire the past 2 years. I love that racetrack. I think it'll put on a great race. And I'm extremely happy to see it in the playoffs. Charlotte Roval, I think, it's what the fans want. They want excitement. Do I want to race in a road course in the playoffs personally? Hey, I embrace them. I love the challenge. I love being able to get better on road courses, and each time's an opportunity once you go out on the racetrack and have a race on the road. So, looking forward to hopefully just having a clean day there, especially with the new hairpin corner they got there. Especially last year, I remember that was actually a really big passing zone. And once I ran laps in the sim, I was like, man, if you really ship it off in there, I don't know if this will be a big passing zone, but kind of proved myself wrong. I made a few passes there last year in the Xfinity car myself. So I'm looking forward to it, especially because I do have experience at Charlotte Roval with the new configuration. So maybe I got a little bit of a leg up, hopefully, on the competition.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go next to Holly Kane. Go ahead, Holly.
Hi, good morning, Chandler. I wanted to ask you what being in the playoffs this year you kind of bring that you might not have had before. What is being in the series this season? What do you think that you expect of yourself this time around?
Yeah. Great question. I believe this will be my fourth or fifth. I think fifth. I think this is my fifth actual playoff appearance in the NASCAR series, not just the Craftsman, but taking into account Craftsman and the Xfinity series. So with that, I've gained a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge on, how to manage each race, each round. Because at the end of the day, the end goal is to make it to Phoenix to have a shot at winning the championship. But on the flip side of that as well, say you get eliminated, in round, the first round, well, then you can only be as good as what, eighth or whatever it is in the trucks. I can't remember what it is for the cutoff. Because everybody advances to the next round and you get 1,000 points or whatever it is. So, the bigger picture is, hey, we want to go to Phoenix and we want to go win the championship. But it's something that I've learned over the years of, being in the playoffs and how this format's worked and all that is your situational awareness needs to be on all-time high on just knowing who you're racing, what your situation is. We want to go out and win races, but if we ain't got a truck to win the race that day, we got to take a step back and be like, hey, we got to maximize the day. The end goal is to get to Phoenix and to try to win that race, because that's what this playoff system rewards, is getting to Phoenix and being the best when you're there. It doesn't necessarily award the guy that's got, 7 wins for the season. It awards the guy who makes it to Phoenix and beats the rest of the 3 once you get there. So being aware of that and making sure that you keep that mindset going all the way through each round.
Thank you. That's a great answer. And do you see yourself differently this time around than, like you said, 4 or 5 years ago? I mean, is this kind of mindset something you've learned, so to speak?
Yeah, I feel like I kind of had a general understanding of it the first and second time I appeared in the playoffs, but managing it and managing what that is from a race to race basis just comes with more experience. It's no different than when you get somebody that's new into the series and they're trying to get better at mile and a half or something like that. Super speedway racing, the only way you get better is just by raw experience and just doing it, right? So it's no different than when it comes to managing a task like the playoffs and what you got to do to advance to each round. You just got to experience it and being put in different situations to where you got to react differently to be able to acclimate to whatever that may be. And so, yeah, with that being said, the past few years that I've been in the playoffs, I've had different scenarios start to play out, different situations that I've been put in to where each race was managed differently. So,
Thank you.
yep.
All right, we'll go next to Scotty Powell. Go ahead, Scotty.
Thank you. Thank you, Chandler, for joining us. Excuse me, I jumped in a little bit late here. Can you talk about the open and race being at Darlington being probably one of the toughest tracks that you guys visit every year, just because you're on that line of riding the wall? And can you talk a little bit about that? And then my second follow-up would be, seems like the Roval course may be ending close to sunset under the lights, and maybe talking a little bit about how that may change a little bit of the Roval track for you guys on that Friday.
Yeah. So to answer your first question, yeah, Darlington's definitely one of the tougher tracks that the Truck Series go to, specifically because it's worn out, it's got low grip, and it does pay dividends to run the fence there. But there's a silver lining to that, is we do not run composite bodies. So you get into the fence trying to get that extra little bit, a half a tenth to a tenth a lap. That can end your day right there. So it's not like an Xfinity car where you can go in there and pancake it and keep on digging. You go pancake the right side of one of these trucks, you're probably done for the day. So, going back to kind of like that last question, you gotta assess your situation and pick and choose your battles, right? So, considering I think our start time's like 12:30 at Darlington, it's a pretty early race. It's going to be right dead in the center of the day. It's going to be super hot and greasy, slick. So I'm honestly looking forward to it. I love racing in the middle of the day on wore out racetracks. It's so much fun, just slipping and sliding. It puts it in the driver's hands a lot more when you have those conditions than not. So I'm looking forward to it. And then the Charlotte Roval, I'd have to look. I'm not 100% sure if there is a sunset time that we've got to be done by X time, and they'll call the race, kind of like what they've implemented at places like Watkins Glen and some of these other road courses that you can't run at night. So I'm not sure if that'll be the same deal at Charlotte Roval, because I guess there may be lights, but I'm not sure about the infield section. So that'll be interesting for sure. But
All right. Thank you, Chandler.
yep.
We'll go next to Claire B. Lang.
Thanks. This is the third time that you've been in the Truck Series playoffs, and I think you have 3 wins in the Truck Series during the playoffs. How has the racing changed for the Truck Series aggressiveness? And also, how's the competition when you think about what
Yeah.
you're facing this year?
Yeah. So I said this right when I got back into the Truck Series at the start of the year after Las Vegas, I believe. I think it was after Vegas. And it may have even been at the Rockingham test. But anyways, obviously I've been in the Xfinity Series the past 2 years, then coming back down to the Truck Series. When I came in and I was like, hey, what's different about the trucks from last time I was in them when I was at KBM? They're like, nothing really at all. There's not been really any rule changes, whatever, right? And I beg to differ. Now, granted, there may not be any rule changes. It's completely different. The racing, the window is just so small now. You have the 11 truck, they're always kind of in their own zip code on most weekends than not. And then the rest of the field's in a very, very tight circle of like, we're all pretty much right in wits hands to each other. Like we're right there on top of each other. So, it wasn't like that a few years ago. I feel like the trucks have way more grip than I remember them having as well. Like I find myself going to some of these racetracks and being surprised about like, wow, like this thing's got a lot of grip. I don't remember this. And I think that's a product of just, evolution over time, over each individual race team and bodybuilders getting more creative, getting better with their efficiency on their bodies and stuff like that, and maximizing everything still. So I think it's product of that, a lot of it. And because even the tires, like there's not really that much difference from the tires from 2-3 years ago. So it's definitely a lot different. The racing has cleaned up a lot. I remember when I left the Truck Series, it was not good. People were right hooking each other, doing very stupid things that shouldn't be going on, and made our series look like crap. I'm proud to say that this year, the start of the season was a little bumpy with a few instances with some rookies, but a lot of it's cleaned up and it's been pretty tamed down. So, yeah, that's been pretty encouraging to see that we're not just all going out there and just running over each other and right hooking each other like it was 3 years ago when I left the series. I had when I went to college racing in 2023, I was kind of had a relief because I was like, "Ah, finally, I ain't got to worry about being around a bunch of people that's just gonna drive through me for 8th place or maybe right hook me because I literally nudged them out of the way." Like that was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous time in our sport, and it's good to see that's been cleaned up a lot for this year at least. I remember even last year they still had some problems last year, but it's been cool to see. This year's been pretty tame for the most part.
And real quick, how does the racing change when everybody is so close to each other and, the competition is so close? How does that affect
Yeah.
the racing?
Yeah, I mean, it's so track position dependent. It's very like you've got to be on your top game, like execution on pit road, maximizing your lights, being mistake free. All those things are emphasized even more because it's no different than cup racing, right? You see some of these cup races and some of these crew chiefs, they make pit calls to just keep track position because it's so hard to get it. It's not that different in truck racing. It's definitely a lot easier to get track position. But like I said, the competition is so close to each other. And there's, we run so much on throttle time. Like, what are you going to do? There's not that much of a difference you could do to make up when you go to a mile and a half. And some of these racetracks where it's just you're on the loud pedal for such a long time and there's very, very minimum off throttle time. So, yeah, it's execution's definitely emphasized a lot. And, restarts are big too. You got to be on the offense and be able to get after it and try to have a truck capable enough underneath you to be able to get after it and try to make up a few positions on the restart. And because all that stuff matters.
Thank you.
All right, Chandler, thanks so much for your time and good luck in the playoffs.
Yep, thank you.
Up next, we have Corey Heim in just a few minutes.
Hey, Sam, we got Corey here ready to go.
Awesome. Can you hear me, Corey?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
Yes, I do. All right, we'll go right into questions for you. We will start off with Holly Kane. Go ahead, Holly.
Thank you. Hey, Corey. I asked you last weekend a little bit about the playoffs and your championship season. Looking at your stats, you've led twice as many laps as you've ever led in a season. You've got the more wins. What is different to you about the playoffs this year? What do you bring into it maybe that's different than you have in the past 2 years?
Really not a ton for me. I think the main thing for us is that we've really connected a lot of the dots on maybe the prior struggles we've had so far and, got a lot of things to prove in the playoffs still, regardless, as far as keeping that going or keeping that momentum going. But I feel like for me, there was some struggle areas last year that just kind of lingered throughout the year and we never quite got past that. But, we were able to hone in on that in the off season and sort of clear those up as far as maybe some packages that we'd brought to specific racetracks that didn't work, and maybe some pit road stuff. My personal development as far as my driving style at some places. I feel like just to, within my 11 team and within Tricon and Toyota, we've done a great job of just honing in on the things that maybe, didn't work throughout the year and lingered and just kind of fixing that for 2025 and hoping to, extend that into the playoffs as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go next to Deb Williams. Go ahead, Deb.
Okay.
Oh, you're muted, Deb.
Corey,
There you go.
thank you for your time today. In looking at your success during the regular season and also the number of playoff points that you have that you can carry through, is there anything that you look at as being a challenge for your team in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, every race is a challenge. It's always it's never a layup by any means anywhere you go. I mean, especially you look at the the last round, you got a lot of challenging races within the round of 8. I mean, Talladega is kind of the one that sticks out like a sore thumb to everybody. It's just such an unpredictable race. So, as far as the speed we've brought to the racetrack, I think most, if not all, of the playoff tracks fit that for us. But as far as strategizing, especially Talladega, but also Martinsville, the Roval, that whole round of 8, strategizing, excuse me, that, and also just planning for kind of what our plan of attack is for those last few races is going to be big. Of course, we got the whole round of 10 to get through as well, but that round specifically stands out to me as something that we need to really think about and how to attack that and make sure that we're in the right spot at the right time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We'll go next to Cameron Richardson.
Hey, Corey, to follow up on that, just, who can you lean on and how do you kind of start building any type of notebook when you guys do go to the Roval to start the round of 10 or the round of 8?
As far as who's I lean on, I don't know if I have anyone specific in mind off the top of my head, but I feel like the road course stuff on my side has been really good as far as preparation this year and just understanding kind of what I need to do to, attack the racetrack in a certain way. I've only run a T82 race there one time in I think it was 2021 on a different layout. So I've got a very rough and slim idea of what I need to, be successful at that track specifically. But I work with the 2311 people a lot on their side and try to gauge, where their cup guys are making time on specific racetracks, such as Watkins Glen and Lime Rock. Of course, we were by ourselves, but worked with them on Lime Rock a little bit too, actually. But as far as just overall, preparation and development, it's going to be tough to do for sure, just with the lack of experience for me at that place. But Lime Rock, I'd never been there either, and it was a pretty successful day for me. So just trying to sort of take the same mindset into that.
Thank you.
And we'll take our next question from John Newby. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. So, Corey, you already answered one part of my question by talking about Talladega, but I was curious, looking at this opening round, what do you think is the biggest, potential trouble track for teams throughout the playoff field?
In the opening round?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, Loudon is tough because we haven't been there, and I think or the trucks haven't been there in about 6 years. I was fortunate to race there last year with Xfinity for Sam Hunt Racing, but Loudon is just a tough one, being a anomaly as far as lack of experience, lack of laps there for most of the truck field, including drivers and teams. So that'll be tough for the round of 10 for sure. But kind of like you mentioned, I mean, the round of 8 is definitely the ones that stand out more. I mean, the round of 10 is kind of your standard racetracks, places that we've been for the most part, other than Loudon. But I mean, as far as similarities, I mean, we go to a lot of tracks similar to Loudon too, so it shouldn't be anything too crazy, I wouldn't think.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we'll go next to Scotty Powell. Go ahead, Scotty.
Thank you, Corey. You have a 62-point advantage on the cut line. Obviously, yourself, it's been a very feast or famine year for you all. You've had a lot of opportunities to win races, and at the end of the day, some of those opportunities have went away from various reasons. Does it give you comfort, though, knowing that you have this big of a point lead going through some of these tracks that, if you could just stay on track, that it's pretty much a leeway to racing for the championship in Phoenix?
In a way, yeah, but I think with the playoff format and the way that everything is structured, things can turn sideways pretty quick. So I feel like you can't ever get too comfortable to the point where, especially as far as my team goes, if they think that we need to smooth sail through the round and no problem, and maybe have a lack of effort. Not that they will at all. They prepare very well, but if they were to, hypothetically, and we have a part failure or something and have a DNF, you find yourself in a bad spot pretty quick. So I feel like our mindset as far as our 11 crew and the organization with Tricon is to prepare to the best of our ability in the same way that we have for most of the races this year, and just to really hone in on everything and if not elevate everything, to make sure that we can not have any failures or anything crazy like that, and also just continue to bring the speed that we have throughout the year.
And if you do get to Phoenix, is that a track that you really enjoy driving around? Does it fit your driving style?
Phoenix is all right. It's not the greatest quality of racing by any means. I feel like it's really easy to get stuck in traffic and whatnot, but it's okay. I mean, there's definitely better racetracks out there in my opinion, but the restarts are definitely crazy, and yeah, that's about it. The restarts are crazy, and then it's kind of straightforward from there. So yeah, it's okay.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks.
We'll go next to Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. It's the third straight season for you in the Truck Series playoffs, and you're the first driver to win the regular season championship more than once. You did it in 2023 and then this year. You seem to have come on board as a phenom. And so how much have you changed or improved your driving, do you think, or the way that you drive since 2023 when you were last the season champ?
I think for the most part, I feel like I've gotten a lot more comfortable in understanding what I need out of my truck on a regular basis. I feel like in 23, I had the 16, I think, race part-time schedule in 2022 with KBM, and then leading up with Tricon in 23. I think a lot of us were unsure of kind of where our equipment was with Tricon being a new, wouldn't say new organization by any means, but with the new manufacturer and kind of a rebrand and stuff. A lot of uncertainty as far as kind of where we lied, but we ended up being really good. And I was also developing myself, and maybe not super confident in the adjustments I needed to put me over the edge from being a top 5 truck to a winning truck in the same weekend, and just things like that. I mean, I feel like I've got a lot more confident in myself and a lot more comfortable in my equipment. So, any extra reps and seat time is super important. And I feel like with these 2 seasons in my back belt, or my back pocket, excuse me, it's really helped me just, find that comfort with my crew. And also, we've had basically the same roster of people on this 11 team for the last 2 years. So everyone's just more comfortable with each other and more confident.
How has the racing changed since you were last the regular season champion in 2023? Aggressiveness, how the racing is and the competition that you're facing for the championship?
I feel like if anything, it's better. I've had my run-ins with people this year, but nothing super egregious. I feel like in 23, there was a lot of maybe penalties that should have been handed out and penalties that were handed out. And, I'm looking at myself here in the mirror, and, that's one of them. So, I'm not excused from the craziness of that year by any means, but I feel like overall the aggression is more coordinated, I guess. I feel like it's more worth it for these guys rather than just doing crazy stuff at inopportune times during the race. It seems like the aggression is kind of honed in to the right place at the right time, if that makes sense. So in my opinion, it's definitely better.
Thanks for your time.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take one more question. We're going to go to Peter Strada. Go ahead, Peter.
Thanks. Corey, how much of an advantage, if at all, is running double duty with the Cup car on weekends like Richmond this past weekend? And will you run another double duty Cup weekend this year?
Yeah, it definitely helps, especially at a place like Richmond that I've never thought is the best racetrack for myself personally. Any extra laps and any extra preparation I can do, especially on the Cup side with the extra data and the extra people that have to prepare for these races, I think it certainly helps at a place that I might not be the best at. But really anywhere, anywhere I can get the extra laps on a given weekend and prepare on the Cup side with those guys definitely helps a lot. So definitely paid dividends in the truck race for me. I feel like I've never run amazing at Richmond and we were able to win the race. So that was definitely a big improvement for our 11 group. But the Cup race certainly didn't go the greatest, but I did feel like I learned a lot from the preparation side and definitely made myself better as a driver at Richmond.
All right, Corey, thanks so much for your time and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
And we'll be joined in just a couple minutes by Raja Karuth.
Hey Sam, got Raja ready for you whenever you're set.
Is this live? No, it can't be.
No, that's not live.
Hey, Roger, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, I can. We'll get started. We'll go ahead and start with Holly Kane. Go ahead, Holly.
Thank you. Hi, Raja. How are you?
Hey, good. How about you, Ollie?
I'm doing great. So now you are a multiple playoff appearance person. I wanted to ask you how this year feels different for you. Do you feel, I don't know, I would imagine the first time sometimes people are happy to be there. This time, I would assume that's definitely not the case, and it may not have been before. But could you just talk about your approach this year, and is it different from years past now that you're more experienced?
Yeah, for sure. I think last year the goal really was to win and enter the playoffs, and we achieved that. And I think anything else was kind of gravy. Not that we were settling in any way, but overall that was really the goal going into last year was to win. And now for this season, it was to win, obviously, and make the playoffs again, but make a deeper run into it, specifically into the Final Four. And I think for me, right, we've had a lot more kind of ups and downs this season than compared to last year. I think last year we had one DNF and really good average finishing positions and running positions, and really kind of a better overall regular season and playoffs. And I think for us this year, we haven't had the best regular season. With obviously we got the win, but otherwise still kind of some ups and downs. But super, I think we could just turn it around in the playoffs and pretty confident that we can do so. So yeah, I think this year definitely more confidence entering into the playoffs and higher expectations, and I would expect to be in the Final Four this year for sure.
Perfect. Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, we'll take our next question from John Newby. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. So, Raj, I was just curious, when you look at this playoff schedule, you have like New Hampshire, Talladega, all that stuff. What is a track that stands out as a potential trouble spot for just teams throughout the playoff grid?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think the Roval, like with our rules packages, with how big our splitters are, the pans, and our parts and pieces. I think with the giant curbs there, I ran there in Xfinity 2 years ago, or I guess coming up on 2 years ago, and with the front stretch chicane, the back stretch chicane, the double rights there in the infield. Not as much the hairpin now. That's turn, I guess, 7, the new one. But those tough corners and the tall curbs will probably be harsh on equipment. So it'll be us on the drivers to keep it clean and kind of utilize them, but also take care of our stuff. But I think that'll be really the thing that is I think probably the most hectic race for sure. But I mean, any of these racetracks we go to can be pretty hectic. And that last round for us, I mean, I believe it goes Dega, Roval, and Martinsville, or Martin,
Yeah.
or okay,
Roval,
cool.
Dega.
Gotcha. So pretty hectic round. I think Talladega is obviously a plate race and a road course, and then so the only straight up oval for real will be Martinsville in that race. Although it was pretty clean, I think this spring with some late race scenarios, obviously. And I feel like the Truck Series has been cleaner this season and last year compared to 2023. But you never know what happens in those cutoff races. So to answer your question, I think the Roval will probably be the most hectic, but those cutoff races, you never know.
Perfect. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
We'll take our next question from Deb Williams. Go ahead, Deb.
Hi, Raja. Thank you for your time today. You mentioned that you've had more of an up and down season this year than in previous last year. Do you see that as being your biggest challenge in order to get some consistency week in and week out?
Yeah, for sure. I think as a whole, we've been looking for more speed out of, our Aspire trucks. We've gotten wins, obviously, one with our 71 bunch, and the Cup guys have won with both the 7 and the 07. But I think as a whole, we've been still obviously chasing the 11, the front row trucks, and here and there, the niche trucks and whatnot. So, and ThorSport, obviously. I think for me, I definitely have been looking for more consistency, especially on my end from an execution standpoint. The last handful of races haven't been clean from my aspect. I sped at Richmond and got some damage at IRP, but I think as a whole this year, we've had some really good strings of races and consistent runs. So I've seen the potential that we have, and there's no question in my mind that we can repeat that and even do a better job of it going into this postseason with some really good tracks for me coming up.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, we will go next to Scotty Powell. Go ahead, Scotty.
Thank you. Thank you, Raja, for joining us. Excited to talk to you. You've got a deep bench there at Spire Motorsports with a lot of Cup guys coming in with Byron and Larson. Corey LaJoy, now a teammate of yours. How much are you able to rely on those and like drivers like Michael McDowell that you just got a deep bench there that you're able to kind of pluck their minds and get some ideas about some of these tracks that you're coming up with?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been great to just be around a lot of those guys and not even talk just straight racing with them, but just talk about personal lives and kind of balancing your work life schedule and management and really the whole nine in terms of what's important. So it's been super valuable to be around those guys, both at Spire but also at HMS, and I've been super thankful for that opportunity to do so. I think for me on the racing note, it's a fine line to kind of balance between because I'm honestly a nerd about this stuff. So I try not to information overload, but it's easy for me to do that with asking a lot of questions. And, I just try to make sure that I have my own authentic experiences and trust my gut, but also not be, afraid to listen and try to find the balance, like I said, of not info overloading myself and asking too many questions to where I can, still rely on my experiences and kind of focus on my team and my notes and my experience and, what makes myself and the team tick.
You're talking about some tracks that could be some trouble spots, but looking at the next several races here in the playoffs, are there any tracks that just like you smile at looking at knowing that, hey, we got a great advantage going there?
Yeah, I think Darlington and Bristol, I think I don't want to call my shot, but I expect to be, in the top three in both of those races. I think those tracks are extremely good for me. Leading laps at Bristol in the spring, winning a stage there last fall, and probably was good enough to win that race. And I mean, even from my first ARCA races at Bristol, it's been a track that I've felt super comfortable at and have led and been in contention. Even almost won a heat race there when it was on dirt too. So I've loved that place. In Darlington, I've run Xfinity there and 2 truck races. And I mean, I felt like, my first time going there, I go and qualify kind of mid-pack, but figure it out and running third and running down the leaders at the end before, overtime starts. So I think those 2 tracks I can show up and be right there with the best, and I expect to do that. So as far as the other ones, I know Loudon's going to be a challenge for sure. It's kind of a area I've had to work on, kind of the flat short tracks without the banking, but I've run there in Xfinity, same with the roll. So that'll be some good experience that I have to supplement kind of going there for the first time in a truck. And then we'll go and see how it shakes, and hopefully it works out to where we make Phoenix.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck this playoff season.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll go next to Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thanks. Hi, Raja. It's fun to watch you come into the series and when drivers come in at first, they're like, wow, look at the guys I'm racing next to and I'm here. And then after a couple of years, I feel like, oh, now I really belong. And now you're saying you'd be in the top 4 or in the final 4, which would be really great to see. How do you assess the competition and, how you now stack up compared to when you first came in?
Yeah, for sure. I think when I started, and I still am kind of on the inexperienced side of things in terms of overall driving time. I mean, I just turned 23 this year and I didn't get into a legend car until I was 17. So it's, 5, 6 years ago, right? And, I saw this picture online a couple years ago where 6 years ago, like half of or a good portion of the truck playoff field was ARCA racing. So inherently behind in that from that aspect, and I'll never catch up, obviously. But since my first truck started in 2022, and a lot of those guys I'm still racing against. Some have moved on to other opportunities. Some have gone and done other things. So in terms of the playoff competition, I think all of the drivers are winning drivers, and can show up and be a top 5 guy, if not a little bit better, depending on if it shakes out for them, if it's a good track for the driver, the team, or if strategy works out for them. That's the cool thing about the playoffs, is that you got to really rise to the occasion, with the element of having the other field being still out there with you. So I think the 11 truck, obviously, they've been extremely solid, and Corey's done a great job, and that team has been together since, winning championships with Brett Moffitt at Tories, and Corey's deserving of moving up to the next level, but he's with us again this year and has done a great job. So I definitely would expect him to be a lock for Phoenix for sure. With both those front row trucks being really good, obviously Lane coming off of his 2 wins last year and really excelling this year, and Chandler made the Final Four, I think, two or 3 years when he was in trucks at KBM, and went and won Xfinity races and came back down our front row, and he's been showing that he deserves a shot over there as well. And you got guys like Hemric and Grant, Kaden that are all really really talented. Same with obviously the champ Ty. So and Jake coming and learning from Ty as well. So I think everybody's good to quit my rambling, but I think I'm just kind of focused on myself and knowing what my strengths are, and where I can really take advantage, and where I really had to put in some more to get to the level of the 11, the 34, and the 98 and them guys.
Real quick, you're a really respectful guy, and I admire that, the way you deal with things. In order to, and a lot of the truck drivers that I've been asking to tell me that it's less, I don't want to say less aggressive, but more respectful in the series. Do you think that you have to be less respectful in a way in the badass truck series to, get to that next level, or have you thought that through?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe a couple years ago the mentality was that you have to be at that way, and I think for us drivers this year, it hasn't been like that. I think you can race hard and make contact, right? But you don't got to clean a guy out or put somebody in a terrible spot. I think there's a difference between kind of allowing yourself to get taken advantage of and put in bad spots versus like, I know it's either him or me, but I'm not gonna go and end their day. I think there's a difference between the two. From my perspective, right? Like I've raced hard and made mistakes for sure over the years and kind of learned what to do and what not to do. But I think you can race hard respectfully and not let guys kind of get over on you for sure. But I don't think that it's kind of the right way to go and trying to get back at guys and do things in a kind of retaliatory manner, which I've done that, and I feel like I've learned from those mistakes over the years. So to answer your question, I think the culture has changed, hopefully in a good way, in the truck series this year, and they're kind of working on it in the Xfinity side of things for sure. But from my standpoint, I think it's you can do it respectfully, you can race hard but fair, and there's contact, there's different things that happen because it is sports at the end of the day, but you can still do things with integrity.
Well, good luck in the playoffs. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for your time, Raja. And as Claire said, good luck in the playoffs.
Thanks.
We will be joined next by Lane Riggs.
That was good. All right, Sam, got Lane here for you whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Can you hear me okay, Lane?
Yep, we got you guys.
Great. Well, we will go right into questions for you, and we will start off with Cameron Richardson. Go ahead, Cam.
Hey, Lane, it seems like the first round kind of plays into your favor with Darlington, Bristol, New Hampshire, but looking at that round of 8 with Roval and Dega, just, what preparations have you made in terms of, what the Roval looks like, if you have made any at all?
Yeah, I feel like we haven't really gotten that far yet. We just got to get through one round at a time. But for us, I feel like we've been pretty strong on road courses so far. Watkins Glen really didn't go our way. I feel like we kind of had an error. But the other 2 road courses I've done, I feel like we've been pretty naturally fast at. Talladega is kind of a wild card. Really not much preparation you can do there besides watch some film and talk to your spotter and be ready for anything that could happen. And, the last race, Martinsville, I feel like I've always ran well there in the top 5 and just have to have nice consistent days at all those tracks. Hopefully, with the points buffer we have now in this first round of tracks that are 3 tracks that I love, we can create enough of a buffer that we can go into those races and just have solid top 10 days and make it all the way to Phoenix.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Deb Williams. Go ahead, Deb.
Thank you. Hey, Lane, thank you for your time today.
Hey there.
Going into the playoffs, what do you view as your strength and what do you see as your biggest challenge?
I would say that my strengths are pretty much all the tracks besides the Roval and Talladega, which is just two places that I don't have really much experience at. I've only ever ran 3 road course races in my life and only ran 2 speedway races in my life. So just don't have a lot of experience in those places, but I got confidence that we can have good days there and just take the knowledge and experience and just maturity that I feel like I've gained, especially here in the last 6 or 7 races, and apply that. And like I said, I feel like it's going to be a wild card for everybody. You really don't know what's going to happen at those places. Obviously, the Roval's more performance based. We need to be the best we can there, put a lot of prep work into it, a lot of sim work. And Talladega, just be smart. And, there's going to be a wreck at some point, and just try to not be a part of that. And hopefully be fast enough or even somehow win at the Roval that we don't have to worry about that. That's the goal. But just one race at a time, and just trying to think ahead and prep ahead and try to do the most we can for the places that we don't feel as confident in or just feel like we don't have as much experience at.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
This is your first time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series playoffs. So what have you heard? What you think it's going to be like? And I'm sure you've been talking to people and they're like, oh man, when you get the playoffs, you can cut the tension with a knife. Or what have you heard?
I mean, of course, there's a lot of pressure, but I feel like I'm ready for it. In my 2022 season, we ran for the Weekly Series Championship, and it literally came down to the last race on the last night they were taking points. Me and the guy I was tied with had to race against each other. Whoever finishes higher of the two had to won the championship, and we got the job done. So I've been in that situation before. It wasn't the playoffs, but it's the same kind of situation, pressure going into it. And I feel like looking back on those times, I did nothing but prevail and just be confident in myself. Being nervous or being worried or tense isn't going to make me go any faster on the racetrack. It isn't going to make me be any smarter. So just run each race like it's their own and just be as smart as you can at all of them, and don't worry about the little details or worry about the points. Just do you and go out there and be as strong as you can. I feel like that's what I'm really strong at, and I know I can do it.
Are you doing anything else for preparation, knowing it's the playoffs?
No, I'm going to put in the same amount of effort into every race. I want to win every race equally, but like I said, I think it's just big picture, trying to be smart, don't take any big risks, and just keep a level head. I feel like it's ours to lose going to Phoenix, and just being smart, keeping that points buffer up, and just being a calculated driver and team, make sure our team just does dot all the I's and cross all the T's. That's the only thing we're doing. A little bit sharper on the pen, pushing the pen a little bit harder into the paper.
Yeah, good attitude. Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll take our next question from Holly Kane. Go ahead, Holly.
Hi, thank you. Hey, Lane, you kind of alluded to the answer to this, but does being in the playoffs, does that change kind of your competitive approach? In other words, are we, not eating dinner out in the middle of the week? Are we, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that change for you being in the playoffs versus the regular season?
Yeah, no, I'm going to do the same thing I always do. I'm going to try to go to the lake when I can. I'm going to get on the golf course when I can, but I'm also going to put in the same time of prep work that I do for other races. And I feel like the people that try to change it up going into high pressure situations always end up doing worse. If you're not, my standpoint is if you're not already putting in the maximum effort, the maximum prep work for every race, I'm not doing a good enough job as a driver on the weekly basis. So I'm just going to keep putting in that same prep work, same mindset, and just keep running these races like the others. And they're going to work out the same way the others have. And that's been in victory lane a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll take our next question from Francesco Greedy. Go ahead with your question, Francesco.
Hi, nice to meet you, Lane. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey there.
I would like to go just a bit back to the past because last season you missed the playoff even with a strong season also in the last part, and this time you were really, really fast all the way around. So I would like to ask you, what does it change in your mentality between 24 and 25 season?
Yeah, I'm excited. I was wishing I was in it last year for sure, but I just didn't have the opportunity, and still got a couple wins in it and ran strong and was even a contender to win the race at Phoenix at some point. So, yeah, I'm just thankful to be in it. Glad that the points worked out this season. Glad we got some wins before the playoffs this year, and I feel like I'm really ready for it now. I know what it takes to win. I know what it takes to go fast and just put everything together to make a championship run. And I'm just excited to show it to everybody and show everybody what the team has in store and just our performance as a whole. So it's yeah, just very grateful that I got the opportunity to go for it now and just try to do the same thing I did last year.
And also, we'd like to ask you a little thing about the next three races, because all the other journalists said also that the problem would be go to Championship 4 starting from round of 8, really, really difficult tracks. But in round of 10, you have also to be strong to have points, even if something is missing out in the other 3 rounds. So do you think it will be a problem to be fast in all the 3 next races?
I think the next 3 races I feel very confident in. Darlington's my favorite track. New Hampshire is very similar to the Milwaukee Mile. I got my first win at flat track. I'm similar to IRP as well. And Bristol, got my second ever win at. So I'm very confident in the 3 tracks we have next. And our goal is to win one of them and get as many points we can and maximize our days to just gain more of a points buffer into the next round. And so hopefully heading into a Talladega and a Martinsville that's such a wild card, we have enough points buffer. It's like, hey, let's just, have a good solid day. If you're in the hornet's nest, back out a little bit, just know that you have the buffer to be able to do stuff like that. No Hail Marys in the playoffs. That's the goal for us.
Okay, thank you so much and good luck.
Deb, did you have a follow-up question? I see your hand still up.
No, I'm sorry. I forgot to take it down. Thank you for checking.
No worries. All right. Well, that looks to be all our questions, Lane. Thanks so much for your time and
All
good
right,
luck.
thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Up next is Tyler Ankrum.
Hey, Sam, got Tyler here for you if you're ready.
Awesome. Thanks, Ross. Tyler, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Great. We will go right into questions for you. We will start things off with John Newby. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. So, Tyler, when you look at the 2 rounds of the playoffs leading up to Phoenix, how much of a challenge is it having, like New Hampshire returning for the first time since 2017 and then the Roval getting added on there?
Yeah, no, for sure. The round of eight's tough. You can definitely see a mixed bag going to Phoenix if you don't have a good round of eight. It's probably a bracket of the playoffs where you're just going to try to maximize your points. You can see a lot of different winners in those 3 races. I mean, I can't remember the last time a playoff driver won Talladega. And then obviously Martinsville's kind of the most consistent racetrack that we go to in the round of eight. And then even New Hampshire, Hampshire, I don't really expect, anything really different out of the other mile and a half that we go to. And New Hampshire's, it's gonna kind of drive like Phoenix in a way anyways. It's gonna spread out. Clean air is gonna mean a bunch, especially with the new pan configurations that we have on these trucks. I mean, you're just gonna look to the round of 10 just to try to get a win under your belt, get those extra 5 playoff points, maximize your days, and just focus for the round of 8 because I mean I mean, you could truly, if you can make past the round of 10, I mean you can easily see like if Corey Heim has 3 bad races, he's not making it Phoenix, with the racetracks that they've given us.
Perfect. Thank you, man.
All right, we'll go next to Holly Kane. Go ahead, Holly.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on today. I wanted to ask you a little bit about what we reasonably can expect from you and what you can also reasonably expect. I know you've had, a few top tens in the last 8 races, I think 3 of those, but how do you feel like you guys are right now heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, no, the summer months have been weak for us, considering how the first half of the regular season went, and us being incredibly competitive at the beginning of the year. Yeah, but the last half wasn't great. When it turned summer, we began to struggle, not just performance-wise, but we struggled on pit road, preparation, just losing a couple of things that we had at the beginning of the year. But the last 3 races, we learned a bunch. Knowing exactly what we need to implement for the playoffs and having this week off, getting ready for Darlington. We know exactly what we need to do. We know exactly what we need to do to get better, and get us closer to getting to Phoenix.
And you feel pretty good about things, and it sounds like because the turnaround has so recently happened.
Yeah, and even a place like Watkins Glen, we ran top 5 at Watkins Glen, but we didn't really perform that well. Performance-wise, we were pretty much a top 15, top 10 truck. We weren't that great, but we were able to put a good day together, and find our way to the top 5, and that's really what you're going to need, especially at a place like New Hampshire, Darlington. If your first 2 races are solid and get out of those tracks with just solid days and good performances, Bristol's a little bit easier on yourself. And then you can really just focus on maximizing Talladega and Roval.
Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Deb Williams. Go ahead, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler, for joining us today. You mentioned the tracks that you considered a challenge going into the playoffs, and you also talked about your issues in the summer. So what do you view as your strengths going into the playoffs?
Honestly, our strength all year long has just been being resilient. Even races that we weren't necessarily great in, we were able to find our way to the top 5, top 3. I look back to a race like Rockingham. I pretty much ran outside the top 20 all day long. But we were able to outthink and outsmart the competition, get ourselves out front, and just be resilient and take that chance to stay out on fuel and go win. And that was exactly the way what we needed to do. And in a lot of instances on these truck weekends, that's what you have to have. You just got to outsmart everybody else and sometimes take the long shot, and get that win. It's increasingly becoming more and more in today's world that sometimes just staying out of your own way and staying out of everyone else's way
will really shape up to be a good day. And so I look at a lot of these races that we've had this year, even like looking back in the spring, looking at Bristol, we ran top 3, top 5 the first 2 stages. And then based off strategy and one mistake on a restart, we found ourselves outside the top 12. And it took the whole rest of the half of the race just to get back to 4th. That's just how stiff the competition's become. And that's beating yourself. That's beating yourself on the racetrack. And we could have seen that day look completely different if we hadn't done that. We were able to stay inside the top 3 and the top 5. And so when you look at Darlington, New Hampshire, Bristol, I honestly, I kind of take Roval and Talladega out of the question because those are such insane wild cards. Even looking towards Martinsville, if you can just maximize your days, have minimal mistakes, and be perfect on the things that you can control, you can find yourself having a serious shot for Phoenix.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we will go next to Peter Strada. Go ahead with your question, Peter.
Thank you. And Tyler, thank you for your time. Appreciative of that as always. How much of an asset is having a teammate like Daniel Hemric, who's so experienced and has won a championship under this format?
It's huge. I don't, as a truck guy, you don't get to spend a lot of time around Cup guys or Xfinity guys, and he's been there and done it all, and he's 32, I think, 33 maybe. And just having his age and his experience is huge. And honestly, one of the biggest things I've learned from Daniel this year is just the way how he communicates. And I call it cup lingo, but like that's kind of how they all talk, like the way Daniel talks, and how he communicates, and not necessarily just the depth, but just the level of scrutiny he has. Sometimes for me, it's just kind of okay, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I'm just the type of guy like I'm just going to deal with that in my own way and just try to find a way around it. And just being able to be around him and pick up on some of those things that I can do better, simply when it comes to communication and how to be better, make yourself better, make your crew better, your team better, has been huge. And he has such a level of experience and expertise, especially at a place like Roval or even super speedways. Like I tell you, like when you get around a cup guy on a super speedway, it's like, oh man, like this is so nice. Like why can't we all race like this in the truck series? And it's amazing to have him as a teammate and have a guy in your corner.
All right, we'll take our next question from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thanks. This is your 4th time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series playoffs, and I think your best finish in the standings 8th, and that was twice, 2019, 2024. When I first met you and started interviewing you, you were really working on the confidence, and you have just sort of blossomed in that area. How much confidence does it take to get to that final 4 from 8th? And where did you get the confidence? How has that helped you since early on?
I know me and you have talked about this a bunch, and kind of the definition of confidence changes over time. But I had said something earlier I think it was Dave Moody. It's not necessarily confidence. It's a sense of inevitability of when you're running top 5 every week, like we were at the beginning of the year. It's just like first 8 races of the year. It's like, we're just going to win. Like it wasn't if, it was just like when you're going to win. Like Bristol, I felt like I could have won. If things had gone my way and we hadn't beaten ourselves on the racetrack. Vegas, I felt like I could have won if we hadn't beaten ourselves yet again. In the one race we didn't beat ourselves and we actually overcame adversity, we won. And you have that sense of inevitability of that it's just gonna happen. And so for these next 6 races, that's the most important thing. What we have to do from here going out is just, no matter what, you have to run top 5. With the way our trucks perform, if we don't run top 10, we did it to ourselves, or you just got unlucky. We can run top 10 with our eyes closed every single week. It's running top 5. Running top 5, the more you're going to run top 3, the more you run top 3, the more laps that lead, the more laps that lead, the more races you win. And that's what it takes to get to Phoenix.
Yeah. And the other part of it is that you've been around for a while, but my gosh, you're only 24 years old. I mean, racers that are 22 to 23, 24, none of them are that confident. And deep inside. I mean, you're still very young. Do you ever feel young, or do you all feel like old men at 24?
No,
Supposed to be all grown up.
most days I feel like the Garth Brooks song. The the saddle's getting too worn. The lines are getting long. Feeling like I'm 40 years old at 24.
Right. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so sometimes you got to look back and say, man, I am poised to do this now because I'm 24, but when I was 22 or 20, I'm still young now, right? And sometimes I think you have to give yourself that grace, but it's going to be fun to watch you in the playoffs. And you want to add anything to that? Love this.
Yeah, no, it is funny because sometimes, well, actually, this happened to me this year. There was this kid, he just got a job in like NASCAR industry, and he said something to the effect of like, man, like I'm such a huge fan, like I watched you growing up. And I think I told the guy to F off because it's like I'm only 5 years older than you, jerk. Like, watch me growing up. Like I was a senior when you were a freshman. What are you talking about? Like just go away. You're quit making me feel old. Just go away. Like it ruined my week. It ruined my week.
Really?
I had to go get a therapist and talk through that.
Hey, thanks so much. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, Tyler, thanks so much for your time and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you. I appreciate it.